Welcome to Circle of Hearts Radio. Journey with Grandmother Allayah as she enters her magical world of relics, sacred sites, and ancient crystal skulls. Meet with exciting trailblazer authors and individuals shifting the consciousness of humanity. Send her your questions to be answered on air on her monthly segment, Ask the Oracle. And now your host, Grandmother Allayah, in the sanctuary on the airwaves on OMTimes Radio.
Welcome to Circle of Hearts on OMTimes Radio. I am Allayah, host for this hour. Today I have another very special guest. Diana Cooper is with us. Anyone that has followed these radio shows knows that I follow spirits, promptings, and this is how I was able to connect with Diana. I was looking for something else, and I came across her newest release, and I didn't even know that she had a new book out with Tim Wilde, The Archangel Guide to Ascension. And I got it, read it, and that little voice in my head said to, contact her, and she graciously accepted. In the past month or two, I've been doing a lot of, reading on her material. And when I was thinking this morning, how do I introduce her? And what guidance came to my head was she's a spiritual teacher incarnate for this ascension process. And I thought this is really perfect. And also when you read her books, her voice almost comes through the written word. And I also heard, it's like the voice of angels. So giving you that introduction, Diana. Hi, how are you today?
Hello, Allayah. Well, thank you for that amazing introduction. And we had a little chat beforehand, and I said that I asked my guide if I was a teacher or a healer in this life. And what he said interested me and actually made a lot of sense. He said I was a light, and that means that I impart spiritual knowledge in my aura and obviously in my words. And there are so many people that are lights without realizing it. So for every time you connect with angels or you do some work on yourself, you become more and more clear as a light. And when you start to connect with the archangels very strongly, as we do in the Archangel Guide to Ascension, then of course your light becomes multifaceted, and you're able to help more people as they walk the ascension path. And so I found that a very exciting thing, just to be a light.
Okay, that I can actually, see myself, because the written word is very light filled. In doing this radio show, I've been reading so many books that I've come to recognize the written word that the authors put out exemplifies their energy so much. And I also I felt that word light, your light energy, you present it in a wonderful way, because even when I was listening to one of your interviews last night, and you made the comment about how the internet is a higher vibration. If I get this right, I think it was the Moore show. How dealing with the internet, we have raised our vibration to a different level of communication. So now this is, as you had mentioned just a few seconds ago, we're able to bring forth onto these airwaves.
Well, it's very interesting because in the golden era of Atlantis, they had an internet system which was based on the crystals, and it was a very, very high frequency. Of course, what we have now is a much lower frequency internet, but we are aiming to raise the frequency and raise the frequency until all this stuff that is doing all the damage and going around the world isn't going to interest people anymore. And in the new golden age, we will have a very high frequency internet again. It's also very interesting what you said about the written word carrying such a vibration, because in this latest book, Archangel Metatron asked me and my friend Tim Wilde to write the book, and it brings in a seventh dimensional frequency which is interwoven in the words that people read. So it takes people up beyond the fifth dimension, and that's why it has such an extraordinary resonance with it. And that's Archangel Metatron, who, of course, is absolutely amazing and awesome, and is leading the ascension process of the planet forward. So as people step onto the ascension pathway, they automatically connect with Metatron and also with the unicorns who are helping to bring the higher frequencies through. Because since 2012, all the old energies that were coming in have raised their frequency. So, for example, many people used the Mahatma energy, which was based on a great pool of light created in the golden era of Atlantis. But it was so powerful that it was withdrawn. And then it started to trickle back for our use in 1987 at the harmonic convergence. But at the cosmic moment, so many people moved into a higher frequency that the Christ light came in with the Mahatma energy, and it literally poured in so that people could use it with their 12 chakras. And this has had a massive impact on raising the frequency of humanity, because when you bring it through your 12 chakras, it goes into the earth as a wonderful golden light and starts to connect people, places, go into the ley lines, and makes a huge difference to how we all feel and how we live. And we need to send it into war zones, into places where there isn't peace, to help all those people to accelerate their lives and bring in more light for them too.
It's well, what I liked about that book is a lot of people can't do, especially in different parts of the world, they can't go to the workshops unless you're traveling to that particular area, and it's almost like a textbook. Here you have it in front of you. And like I said, I've read the book a few times, and each time I've read it, I have gotten a deeper meaning out of it.
Yeah.
Or else I've been able to just flip a page and say, oh, I really need to see this. So it's very exciting.
And as with all spiritual books, the angels will ensure that you open it at exactly the right page for that which you need to know or learn. And so every time you read it, you will have brought to your attention what it is that's to vibrate with your new level. Because, of course, each time you read it, it takes you up a notch. And so then you'll be able to vibrate with something new.
Well, that I believe your book has brought me up a notch. I mean, it really has opened my mind. And actually, I've just this morning in my early things, I ordered a few more of your books that I want to explore.
Good, thank you.
But the one on Atlantis, and the other one, I don't even have it in front of me. The keys.
Oh, the keys to the universe.
Yeah.
Yes. Both the Atlantis book and the keys are packed with information. And the Atlantis one is really the foundation of where we're going. We have to reach that frequency that they had in Golden Atlantis. And the book shows us exactly how they reached that frequency, what they did, and exactly how they lived, and all the extraordinary ways they connected, for example, with animals, so that every single child was expected to have a dog, and they looked after the dog, and in exchange the dog looked after them. And how every household had a cat which protected and guarded the house, and every child had a rabbit which was there to comfort and heal their hearts. And we've forgotten these links now, but that was how they lived, in absolute total oneness with animals, with trees and nature. that has to return. And then that's a foundation, a step towards where we're going. And the keys to the universe, that is an awesome book, because that contains really the spiritual laws for the new golden age. And it explains how each key gives you an aspect of the universal wisdom. So as you understand and learn about that key, you become more in tune with the entire universe.
In reading these books, when we were talking, I think everybody is becoming so aware quickly that all the information that was given in the past about Atlantis, about Lemuria, I think it's like, okay, I appreciate this, I appreciate so much, but as you say, we need to bump it up.
Yeah.
So
we have to go, because the 2012 brought in the vibration of 1111, which means take it to a frequency higher. Yes. And that's what we have to do.
This is why, I myself is reading this, but, I'm looking at all the books, that's what I said, I spent a lot of time the past few days. I'm looking at all these books, and it seems your newest one has parts of all your books in this. I mean, I might be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing,
What it has is possibly old information at a higher frequency. It's bringing in the latest information, the newest frequency that is possible to connect with, for example, an archangel or the dragons or whatever it is, the cosmic diamond, violet flame. So yes, it'll bring in something that is higher, so that you take a layer to a new level, a new step.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with Diane and start to talk about the newest switch.
I'm afraid you're breaking up.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
The Conscious Parenting Radio Show provides inspiration and resources for loving, empowering, and respecting your children and yourself. Join me, Timothy, every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time as we consciously explore proven ways of living together in happiness, health, and harmony.
Hi, this is Angela Levesque, host of Entanglement Radio. Join me Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern for inspiring conversations with visionaries in spiritual science and conscious healing. Entanglement Radio, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. Transcendent talk for the conscious mind.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Back to Diana Cooper. There's time goes so quickly, and I have a million questions, and I know we're not going to get to them. But a lot of your works has related to some of the coming up work with the children and the books and the cards that you've created. This morning I saw an article on OMTimes e-zine. Mystical realm, fact or fiction. You're the only person that I've noticed, years ago that I was drawn to discuss unicorns. they always were presented as almost like part of mythology. But I think as reading your books and a lot of this information that's coming out, we're beginning to realize what we thought was mythology actually has some fact to it.
Yes, indeed. I mean, all these things like angels and fairies and unicorns are beings living in other wavelengths, other dimensions from that which we can normally tune into. But as people are raising their frequency, they can start tuning into these other wavelengths. And of course, in Golden Atlantis, everybody had a unicorn. They were all connected with them. They were clairvoyant, and they worked with their unicorns. However, when the energy went down, the unicorns withdrew. And then, as humanity started to raise their frequency again, the unicorns came back and started to look for people who got a light on over their heads, meaning that they wanted to do something that wasn't just for themselves, but was for helping humanity or the community or something outside their own personal desires. Then the unicorns would come and connect with them and give them the courage, the strength, the dignity, whatever qualities they needed to bring their new visions to fruition. And of course, the unicorns work with the children. The new children that are coming in are so sensitive and so light that the unicorns love their innocence and they work with them and try to help them. So there are many new children coming in now. All of different kinds. We all know about the indigos and the rainbows and the crystals. They come from Orion. They have never left Orion. They've never been to Earth before. They have special teachers come to Orion to prepare them, and they come to Earth. And although they've been prepared, nothing can really prepare them for the shock of coming down into these low vibrations. And so some of them cannot ground their energy into the low frequencies, and they withdraw part of their soul energy. We call that being autistic. And the unicorns, if you call on them, they will try and help bring that aspect of their soul back into the child so the child can reground and start to live as they intended to live in accordance with the soul mission when they came to Earth. And of course, there are star children coming in from all over the universes, all carrying different wisdom and knowledge. Some of them have been here before, many of them have not, and find it quite confusing and difficult when they do come to Earth, and they need parents with special qualities to help them to understand what's going on, to deal with relationships and emotions, and to help them deal with this massive energy that these children have. You see, these children need to be out in nature. They need to do lots of exercise and running. And what do? We close down the playgrounds in schools and things so that they don't get their needs met. We have to change something. And then there are the IVF children coming in, and they are awesome because the average child, the normal baby when it's conceived, is conceived in emotion. The sperm hits the egg and there's a frisson of emotion and feeling. But of course that doesn't happen for an IVF baby. And so they have the capacity to see things from a different perspective without that emotional input. And these children, they come in to heal their families. They're very much loved and wanted, of course, and that also makes a difference. But they come in to see things from a different perspective. And sometimes they can literally shift the families, or in the future, they will start bringing a new perspective into the world and change things at a world level. And all the new babies... Hello?
Yeah, no, I'm sitting here and thinking that what you're saying is so important, because it seems like many, or the generation of which the parents have lost the magic. And, they brought fears. I mean, it seems to be ancestral. Everybody brings down fears and whatever. But for the new coming children, their vibrations are high right now, and they need to stay in that zone and to move away from some of this internet. And like you said, to get out and appreciate, the plants, the animals, to have respect, to mingle, to become part of the earth, and not so much, mind-centered, because they've lost that openness. And I think with the families, in the work that you're doing, bringing out tools for them, like the Tara series, that you've been creating. Can you explain that a little bit more? Because I think of parents, or people that have children, or even for the grandparents, to present these children with things would be a very good step.
Well, I was walking in my forest, and I was asking Spirit how I could help my granddaughter, who is a new child and hasn't been to Earth before, but is very high frequency, and finds life very difficult, can't understand it, finds emotions, relationships difficult, making friends, all of those things. And Spirit said to me, write some books which are stories that will help her. And they gave me this idea of this little girl called Tara, who finds life very hard. And on her 7th birthday, her grandmother gives her a kitten, and the kitten can communicate with her. And the kitten teaches her what to say, how to make a difference, how to bring the community together, the family together, how to meet the fairies and the angels and the unicorns. And really, the books are intended to enchant and empower children and entertain them, of course. And at the moment, I'm looking to make them into a animated TV series. We've just had a promo made for them so that we can take it to conferences and look for the funding and the commissions to get this series out so that we can help the children of the future. And I think that there is a huge amount that if parents would only know would make a difference. The simplest thing of all is that these children need to have peace. Parents come home incredibly stressed from work, and they bring all that energy back into the house, and the children can't cope with it. So really, parents need to know how to cleanse their aura before they walk into the house. They need to know what kind of music to have in the background so that these children's brain waves are much calmer, and so that they can stay in a calmer state. Also, I know that this particular granddaughter of mine, my daughter found she couldn't watch certain programs on television, even when my granddaughter was asleep in bed, because it would affect her. And so we just have to be terribly aware that it's a soul mission that has been undertaken by the parents to bring these children up. And by 2032, they say that 24% of children will be born with their 12 strands of DNA active. And there would be more children born if there were sufficiently high frequency parents to parent them, bring them up.
When you're saying you're talking, these things are coming to my thoughts. Instead of parent, again, it's people fall back onto how they were raised up. And a lot of our parents, if they did read to us, would be Grimm's fairy tales, which we realized it was not the greatest. So I think we should replace those fairy tales with books and information like yours. Bring the little ones up. If you're going to spend time, when a woman becomes pregnant and she goes to the baby stores and they see the whole list of books and information out there, pick up a book similar, or pick up Diana's books, Diana's books, like the Tauruses. If you're going to spend time reading to your child, read something that opens the magic in them.
It's quite interesting because my unicorn book, which is for adults, but children read it and find that that makes a huge difference because it connects them to the unicorns. Of course, there's a unicorn book with Tara when she meets the unicorns, and that's great for children. But for older children, the unicorn CD, it heals children and helps to reconnect them again.
I think I'm trying to put what book that I read this. It could be your Ascension book with your archangels, and please correct me. The unicorns remove the veils over the third eye.
Yes, they do.
Raphael.
Angels work with the wishes of your heart. Unicorns work with the desires of your soul. But it is also the unicorns who help you remove the veils of illusion, the 7 veils of illusion, and to help you come to enlightenment. That's the work of the unicorns. Okay. The angels will sing over you, and they will bring you into harmony and open your mind to things through the vibration of their singing. So you can ask an angel to sing over you at night or to sing over your children at night. The unicorns will help to bring you into balance. So they'll help to bring your 12 chakras into balance so that you can remain 5th dimensional during the day.
It just seems that I was interested. Oh, well, we're going to go to another commercial. Continue this afterwards.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids. Simone Milasas would like you to know that business can be fun, which is why she wrote the book, Joy of Business. What if you could have the joy of business rather than the stress and struggle? Most of the time, the only thing stopping you from a thriving business is you. In the Joy of Business book, Simone gives you access consciousness tools and pragmatic ways to get out of your own way and to create the business, life, and living you know is possible and beyond what this reality says is achievable. Business is joy. It's creation. It's generative. It can be the adventure of living. You can purchase your copy of the book through Amazon or Joy of Business website, www.accessjoyofbusiness.com.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, intuitive life coach and energy healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on the Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio, IOM-FM.
Oh, back with Diana Cooper. Of course, the show's going too quickly. But Diana, what I was thinking there in sensing when I'm listening to your talking, I'm looking through all your work. It seems that you're working with the whole family unit. all at the same time. They say now time is linear or whatever, but for you give the tools for the adults to understand and to help raise their vibration up and their understanding and learning that they are spirit and they can connect to higher helpers to help them. And then in retrospect, as they move up, I mean, they're aligning almost with their children, but you're offering tools for the children to not, like I said, not to lose their magic, to become aware of things more than the 3D, that, have their senses expand and know that they are spirit also. Does that make sense?
Well, I think it's even more than that. I think that if a child can see fairies or sense fairies, and the parents say to them, don't be silly, they're imaginary, then the child either feels that the parent must be right, in which case they're wrong, and that's very diminishing for a child, or they know they're right because they can see them and communicate with them, therefore their parents are wrong, and that's very scary for a child. So it's much better just to listen to what your child tells you and accept it and encourage your child to talk about it, and you can learn from your child. And children can tune into many, many very interesting wavelengths. I remember visiting my granddaughter once, and this little girl down the road came running down the road and knocked on the door before her parents could stop her. Said, I have to speak to Isabel's granny. And she came in and told me all about a baby unicorn that was given to her, and it was going to be her unicorn, and how the mother had to take it away to look after it because it was so young. And she couldn't tell anybody else. And I thought, well, it's wonderful that she's come in to tell me all this. And I learned such a lot from her, from this very psychic little girl. And so if you listen and learn and appreciate, it enhances and enriches the child and the adult. And then when they can connect with the angels, it makes their life so much safer. Have the children's angel cards, and people have said to me that children literally change when they give them one before they go to school, and the angel gives them some information that helps them during the day. And all of them are praise and encouragement, because the angels always see your inner beauty. They see your magnificence. And children are very easily knocked to lose confidence. If we can build them up, and the angels can help to do that, it makes a huge difference to them.
I think even just thinking back, way back in my childhood, a child being able to feel angel presence and not to be afraid of it, because during my years I've heard many people say, well, I'm not worthy of any kind of angel communication or connection. And I know I felt like that growing up too, that, just, you have this beautiful, expansive energy of, source, God, whatever religion that you follow. And it's like, how could I connect to such a beautiful source? And I think bringing children into this awareness, I notice you have angel cards for children that helps them connect. I do have that right, don't I?
Yes, I do. Yes, it helps.
So, like I said, I've gone through so much. I'm going, okay. Let me make sure.
That's right. But I remember a teacher saying to me once that this little boy was looking very miserable, and she said to him, your guardian angel loves you, no matter what you do. And the little boy looked at her and said, what? Even though I can't do my maths? And she said, yeah. Even though you can't do your maths, your angel still loves you. and his little face beamed. And God, that's beautiful.
The also when you eliminate fear or don't place fear on children, and they have their natural open heart reaction and their natural sight. You have another series coming out, Venus and His Angel, which is a little dog.
That's right, my dog Venus.
Could you tell them about that? I just decided that later, this morning.
Right. No, this is a different kind of book entirely. It's not full of information, but it's subtly full of information. And it's about my dog Venus, a diary of a dog and a puppy and her angel. And it's written in diary form. And it's all about animals, basically, and who animals are and how amazing they are. But it's written as a very funny, light book, but with all the truths in it. And again, children love that book or love people to read that book to them. It's about how important it is for you to get your dog's name right or any animal's name right, and about their soul missions here and what they learn and they understand. And it's one of my favorite books. It's so funny.
Yeah, it looks like it, because not nowadays, excuse me, but the people are so in tune with their fur children. I have two pups, and many times I look at them and they're looking at me. And you think there's a communication going on there.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
They're so filled with love. I mean, they're beautiful. And I just think this is a wonderful extension, that you've had so many very serious books out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these books coming out they have the information in there, but they're lighter.
Yes.
So
that's right.
I wanted to make sure I got it out.
Yeah. And they just make people realize what animals are teaching us, because animals are here to learn and to teach, whereas birds are only here to teach. And so they don't have anything to learn at all. So if you see a bird doing something, you know that it's giving you a message or teaching you something, whereas an animal is also learning. For example, deer are here stags and deer, to learn and teach about trust. And we had a wonderful experience of a stag that came into our part of the forest and was there every day until people came from miles around to photograph it and see it. And at first it was radiating, trust the universe, trust everything will be all right. And then it started radiating, trust your community, start building your community. And it was there for about 3 or 4 weeks, and its message started to expand and spread. And I thought that was so interesting.
What you even were saying, building community is, this seems to be an extension of your work of the foundation that you, Diana Cooper Foundation, of teaching people to pretty much spread the world, the word.
That's right.
In little different communities.
Well, that's right. The foundation is a not-for-profit organization, and we train teachers in understanding Atlantis, in angels, unicorns, transformation, many sections, and then they can go out around the world and spread that information.
Yeah, isn't this in a way also leading up to what you're saying, the golden age from Atlantis is sort of reappearing?
It certainly is. People are starting to be ready. Now, when I started to talk about angels, it must be 25 years ago, I suppose, nobody knew anything about them. They thought I was crazy. despite the fact that when my first book on angels came out, it's now New Light on Angels, and I went on a breakfast TV show to talk about it, they asked if I would have my aura taken. And I said to my guardian angel, can you just step into my aura? Thinking that people would sense the light. And my angel impressed itself into my aura so that people could see its golden head and the rays of light. And my guide was standing behind looking like a pillar of gold. And the radio station was absolutely flooded. They had something like 114,000 calls. And most of them were from people who had experienced angels but never dared talk about it before. And so it opened the floodgates, and people everywhere were starting to talk about angels again.
I was going to add, I thought that this is important to bring out because nowadays, with all the chaos going around, people are in such a fearful mode of thinking that it needed to be brought out that there is light in that, light ahead. And, this is all growth that's leading us to be able to, reach this golden age. That it's not a dream, it's not a fantasy. This is something we're actually participating in.
Well, it certainly is. And it's about the old paradigm collapsing, which we can see happening all around us. We can see big businesses changing, banks changing, governments changing. We're aware of secrets coming up and out. Corruption that's been going on for a long time is now surfacing. All of that is part of the collapse of the old paradigm, so that the new can then come in.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
The truth is, you can't change the world if you're broke. I know, I tried. Isn't it time you turned your life's calling into a profitable, freedom-based business? I'm Michelle Barr. Join me every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern for Sacred Success.
Radio Namaste leads you down the yellow brick road into portals of consciousness with the blue-collar goddess as your host. Interviews with humans who could be famous or just popular, and answers to everything are on the agenda. Tune into OMTimes Radio and drop in on Thursdays at 3 Eastern. It's a different brand of enlightenment.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
We're back for the final segment with Diana Cooper, and I just want to touch upon Atlantis because I had told her I have a favor to ask since many of the people who listen are Crystal Skull caretakers. There's a lot of information out there that was presented in the past, which had its purpose, but and they talk about Atlantis and they talk about 13 skulls, etc., and it never seemed quite right to me, and I couldn't put my finger on it. But in reading I think it was one of the chapters in her newest book, with the crystal skulls, it almost seemed like they were in the past, during that time, they were almost like the computers. That's all I can. Computers in the way that people are able to connect with them, learn from them, use energy with them. Would you say that, that has some, semblance of what I'm trying to get at or not?
Yeah. In the golden era of Atlantis, people worked with the crystal skulls. That particular shape was chosen because it represented the consciousness and intellect of humans. And of course, each of the high priests and priestesses of Atlantis created a crystal skull for their tribe, and within it was programmed all the information and wisdom of the tribe, but also universal wisdom. And then all the information from the 12 skulls was placed in an amethyst skull. Each one was the amethyst skull isn't in physical incarnation. The other 12 were each taken by the high priests and priestesses when Atlantis fell to their new destination. And so far, 2 have been released for humanity. One is the Mayan crystal skull, which people know about, and that was released to try and stop the clouds of war coming over Europe, but it didn't manage to succeed to send out enough love energy. I'm sure it mitigated it. The other one was released in 2012, and it's the Thoth skull held by the Incas, but it hasn't come out into the general domain. It's been brought into physical life by its keepers, and is consequently enabling us all to be influenced by that Thoth energy. Now, Thoth had a vision of the Earth as a crystal ball, and there were pathways all around the planet, and each in gold, and each crossing point had a diamond in it. And this was the original concept of the ley line system of the planet. And Thoth placed this vision into the amethyst crystal skull so that it could be passed on to everybody, so that they could start using their own power to co-create the ley line system. And people in Atlantis all learned how to create their own skulls to work with. These linked into the temples and were able to download information from the temples into that frequency, and the temple skulls connected with the great crystal of Atlantis, which of course was programmed by the Intergalactic Council, so that people had a link to their own personal skulls. And the very interesting thing is that it's only been in the last few years, as the energy comes up towards the new golden age, that people now are remembering their ancient skills that they learned in Atlantis and are starting to recreate crystal skulls with some of that information and magic within it. So we do live in extraordinary, exciting times.
Yeah, it's like I said, right now there's such a large crystal skull movement. I was talking to you before, and it's nice to get a different take on it, because what we try to present to people is that the crystals are a consciousness, and with the skull, from what I've read, and I don't know whether it was read or remember or what it was, some of the Atlantean priests and priestesses, they would put they were able to merge with that crystal thought form of the crystal skull, and part of their consciousness had remained. Does that suit to you or not?
Yes, there are always different ways of verbalizing things. How I look at it is that if you take a particularly beautiful or powerful crystal, it's because a being of light, a consciousness, has made that its home. And you connect with that consciousness within the skull. And so many of the great energies and beings of Atlantis actually enter into a crystal or a crystal skull, and you can connect directly with their wonder and their energy.
So it's almost, even a way when a person meditates with them, there's a form of telepathy or a sense of communication happening.
Absolutely. It can be telepathic, and I think it often is, or it can just be a knowing as the information is passed on your particular wavelength that you connect into the crystal with.
Yeah. No.
So just holding that crystal, you perhaps know things that you didn't before, or you find that later on you think, oh, and you're saying something that perhaps you didn't realize you knew.
Yeah, no, that's my brain's working overtime here. I'm thinking while you're talking. Yeah, because what some of the people coming into the knowledge of the crystal skulls, and I think I had read a sample of your book of Discovering Atlantis that says many of us have had lifetimes in Atlantis. So maybe this, like you had mentioned, is a resurgence of memories.
I'm sure it is. Absolutely. So many of these things are now surfacing again to help us with the next stage going forward into the new golden age. Because the new golden age starts in 2032. So the planet has to be fifth dimensional and everybody on it, or at least at the upper levels of the fourth dimension with their heart and their consciousness open. So we've only got a short while, literally, to transform the world. However, this will happen regardless. Earth has decreed that this will happen. Nature is now fifth dimensional. Many animals have moved up into the fifth dimension. Even fairies that were fifth dimensional have now started to become angels as they have ascended into a higher frequency. So everything is moving. The entire universe and all 12 universes are moving into higher frequencies.
So I had to also remember, like I said, trying to remember where I saw it. There was one quote in one of your books that said, don't always ask God what it can, he, she, I'm trying to find the right words. This is to paraphrase, can do for you, but ask the divine within you what you can do for others. So all of the information and that's, you've been bringing through in all these different books pretty much is saying, come to terms that you are spirit, you are energy, you're raising your vibration up, but not for all yourself. You need to expand your heart and all, or bring all your chakras up a notch, also to reach out to others and help them, bring their vibration up. Would you say this is part of the overall message of all your works?
I think that we're all one. And if one person is unhappy or frightened, then there's a part of that person in all of us. And so every single time we help somebody else, we're helping ourselves.
So as we end this show, Dia, do you think, in your opinion, seeing, all the people that you meet, do you think that we're heading in the right direction? All this work, all the information that's out there, people are finally starting to get it?
I think there's a vast mass of humanity that's rising quickly. I think that the energies coming in are opening people up whether they want to be opened up or not. And so it's inevitable that we're moving into a higher paradigm.
Yeah, I know a lot of people often say, this is why I was excited to have you on the show for many reasons. It's because of your collection of works. Many people say, I don't understand. What can I do? I can't go to workshops. You make a lot of your work available in digital form, which makes it easy access. You're giving the people the tools.
There's masses of information on my website that people can access. And basically, as long as you're thinking about other people and moving that forward, like you asked the angels to go with people that are sad. I love to walk through my forest. I pick up a pebble and I fill it with angel energy or unicorn energy, and I'll put it somewhere and ask that to radiate light out so that people will feel angel energy unconsciously when they pass it.